Hi, welcome to Cheltenham Chat episode 13, and a lot to go through in this episode. We'll go through the during the week action in Ireland, and then on to Doncaster, Fairyhouse, and Cheltenham at the weekend, and then Naas to finally finish up with. And a lot of performances to go through, a few bubbles burst, and lots to talk about, really. Energumene being beaten, a big talking point there. How will the Champion Chase now finish out? And what are you backing for Cheltenham after seeing some of these horses turned over at the weekend and horses throwing their hats into the ring? So we'll go through all that in the next 15-20 minutes or so, and we'll talk about that. And I've finally had some good news on one of my personal bets, although still no bets for the videos this season as yet, but at least Epatante did step up to the plate and ran well at the weekend, although she didn't really beat a lot. So we'll get through all that action in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So 3-card Bragg won at Fairyhouse on Wednesday, a nice performance, and he'll now go to the Albert Bartlett. I still think his jumping may just catch him out in the Albert Bartlett myself. He's not one that I would see as the Albert Bartlett winner myself. It was a good performance. He's a good horse, and plenty of people will like him for the Bartlett. But for me, I'm not convinced about him totally for a Bartlett, and I can leave him alone for now. I'll look to evaluate the race after the Nathaniel Lacey. Look to see what's going to be running in that race, and then have a proper look at the race myself. Tehupu is a horse I've got a bit of an opinion on. I'm not totally sold on this horse as an 11-4 favourite for the Stairs. Now, I know that the horses they're dropping like flies in this race. Classical Dream being one who may not run. Floating Porter may not run. And of course, Blazing Cal may not run either. So lots of horses in this race are falling by the wayside. I just felt like this was very slowly run, and maybe, possibly, we've got a sort of view on the horse that maybe we shouldn't have. It wasn't a true test. It was a bit more of a speed test, and although Tehupu's won really nicely, I think the price is very short. The second horse on the Gowran card to talk about was Sir Gerhard. He made an absolutely shocking error at the final fence in the straight. Nearly took it home with him, and I wasn't entirely sold on his jumping all the way around. To be honest, starting this horse's novice career so late in the season seems like a bit of a strange one to me. Even stranger when Mullins came out at the end of the race and said that the Brown Advisory may be his race at Cheltenham. Going from 2 miles to 3 miles really seems a little bit strange to me. But you can never tell with Mullins, and if you get involved in these horses, you're really playing with fire. I did the charity challenge with understarters orders this week, and I actually put this horse in my 5 horses for the Turners. So I've caught myself out playing Mullins lottery myself. I wasn't totally enamoured by his performance. I did my video before he made his Chase debut, and I wasn't really totally pleased with his chasing debut, to be honest. I thought his jumping left quite a bit to be desired. And to be honest, if he makes a mistake like this in a championship race, he won't recover from it. It was a poor race. He won it nicely, but it wasn't a race of any substance at all, and he's made a shocking error. And I just thought he was a bit iffy at quite a few fences. He wasn't one who I would be shouting from the rooftops. At Fairyhouse on Saturday, Austro Diamond got her season back on track, beating mares in a grade 3. It was a good performance, and she'll probably go to the mares novice now with a decent chance. A performance I was really taken with was Founder 50, beating Parmenion and doing it very, very nicely. It was a performance that made you think, is Parmenion a horse who's overrated at the Mullins Yard? Because this is twice now this horse has gone off very short. But Founder 50's absolutely trounced Parmenion, and I thought first time out Found the 50 was going to win a bumper easily, and he just fell in a hole. And perhaps he wasn't fully fit, because this time he's absolutely powered away and won really, really nicely. I thought this was a good performance for a novice win for Found the 50, and who knows where this horse could go. Maybe it's a bit late now for this horse to be going novice hurdling on to go to Cheltenham, but it was a good performance. At Doncaster, Tommy's Oscar lowered the colours of Boot Hill and probably dragged down the form of John Bon a little bit here. I thought Boot Hill would win. Tommy's Oscar is very good, and this is a nice pot to win for his connections. Like I said, at last Epatante's been put in against mares, and she's absolutely trounced them. And this just shows the difference between running against a horse of incredible ability like Constitution Hill and then coming up against sort of poorer mares who she absolutely trounced. So she's into 4-1 for the mares. It looks like Nicky's going to have to shell out the money, and I'm really just hoping I get a run for my money in the mares, and we'll see if Epatante is good enough to win the mares hurdle or not. Lots of Cheltenham action at Trials Day at Cheltenham. Comfort Zone just touched off Scriptwriter in a strongly run race. It's up to you whether you think Comfort Zone can get closer to Lossiemouth in a stronger run race. It was a slow run race where Lossiemouth turned him over. But this was a really decent race, and I had this impression that Scriptwriter's saddle went, and I haven't really been able to see anything since the race to confirm that or dismiss it. Scriptwriter's jumping was a little bit scruffy as well, so I would think that Scriptwriter could maybe turn this form round. But Comfort Zone ran well. If Lossiemouth is as good in a strongly run race, then the Triumph looks like at her mercy, really, with a £7 allowance to take into account. Delta Work ran a good trial for the cross country, running off top weight and finishing third. It's a difficult race to evaluate because it's a handicap, and then when you go into a level weights race at Cheltenham, you'd think that Delta Work would be able to take care of quite a few of these, getting back onto level weights. The big race of the day and the big shock of the day was Energumene's defeat. It was hard to see any excuses, yet they're very bullish that they'll turn the form back round. His jump at the last was a shocker, and Edward Stone, I don't know if he blew up, but he looked absolutely certain to win when he came to collar Edward Terdigit, and then he's also fallen in the hole, and Edward Terdigit's got back up. Hard to know what to make of the form, but I have to say that I think Edward Stone's the horse I would take out the race. I was a little bit disappointed in his finishing effort after he's come to win, and maybe he just needs to be delivered slightly later in the race. But I'm sure that Alan King will have him absolutely primed for the race. It's interesting, though, that the Mullins camp think they can turn this form round. And I suppose if you're an Energumene backer now, you're getting a very good price. I'm not sure that the Cotswold Chase will show us the winner of the Gold Cup, which I think will come from Ireland. But I'm sure it's a really nice pot for Ahoy Senor to pick up. He was impressive in winning this race. Sounds Russian ran a really nice race in second, but you'd have to be disappointed if you're a backer, a protectorate for the Gold Cup, because this wasn't anywhere near the level of his last run, and a real disappointment for Connections this, because he's now out to 25-1 for the Gold Cup, and rightly so. I would have expected him to win this race. Noble Yates was another disappointment in the race, and I can't really see either featuring against the top Irish horses come March after this run. Paisley Park was a horse I was keen to be against in the Cleve, and the French horses come and won. Gold Tweet, a decent performance, just shows that you can't underestimate these horses travelling over one horse, and a huge price really for a horse who's just come over for one race and only one horse in the yard taking over, and absolutely bolted in, really. And in a weak stairs hurdle, you'd have to think if they supplement that they'd have a decent chance. As for Paisley Park, it's easy to say that you can't see an 11-year-old winning the stairs hurdle, but really, I didn't think this horse was up to winning the stairs. But who knows? You'll get a very big price on the horse now, and I'm sure Emma Lavelle will give it a go. And who knows, maybe the horse can come and win at the festival. But I would doubt it. I can't see this horse winning at the festival. It's so disappointing that Florine Porter may not make the race, because I think a fully fit Florine Porter would absolutely wreck this field, to be honest. And hopefully Gavin Cromwell will come with a positive update, because if Florine Porter does run, I'll be all over him. Rock My Way certainly enhanced the form of We've All Been Caught by winning in the second last race yesterday. A good staying performance for a small yard, and you could see what it meant to the trainer and the connections when this horse stayed on to win. But I really do believe it's enhanced the form of We've All Been Caught, and that could be a horse going forward that is a decent outsider for the Albert Bartlett. At Naas today, Ramelis was disqualified, but I thought this was an absolutely brilliant National Hunt Chase trial from him. I think he's a really good bet now for the National Hunt Chase. He jumps all right. He's going to stay forever. Mullins has always liked this horse. I do believe it was right to throw the horse out. I think Townend at times thinks he can do anything and get away with it. And there was races last season where I thought he was, taking ground off people that he shouldn't have been taking. And I think here he wasn't helped by Blackmore's horse coming in as well, but to be honest, it looked quite blatant that he did take the ground of Brian Cooper on the Devil's Coachman. Doesn't take away from the fact that I think Ramilli's run an absolutely brilliant trial here for the National Hunt Chase, and I really would like him for the National Hunt Chase. I did say after his debut over Fences that I was really keen to be with him for the National Hunt Chase, but they had a favourite, Gallard du Mesnil. It really depends where they go with that horse, but I would see him as a serious contender even if Gallard du Mesnil ran as well. I certainly wouldn't be backing Gallard du Mesnil over him in a rush over 3 miles 6, because I think this horse will stay forever. I can't see both of them running, but I'd like Ramillies if he ran. I'd be really keen on him. Chemical Energies ran a poor race, but I've never really thought of him as the winner of the National Hunt Chase, and I think it'll go to the Mullins Yard. It's just which one will they win with. Echoes in Rain won for the Mullins Yard in Limestone Lod. It was a really easy win. The main danger didn't run a race in Bob Ollinger, and the horse sadly looks to be finished. He's got problems, and they obviously can't find what they are at home. He ran another poor race. Echoes in Rain is another horse that could go to the Mares, and the Mares is hotting up into a race that could just be absolutely hotter than and harder to win than most races. If you look at Maurice Rock could run, Love Envoy could run, Epatante for Britain could run, and then you've got Echoes in Rain. You could have Brandy Love, you could have She Wears It Well, you could have Tell Me Something Girl, and at a real bad push you could have Honeysuckle, who Henry de Bromhead said could still run in this race. And I said my piece on Honeysuckle running in the Mares being the current champion hurdler, but you look at those 7 horses and you've got one hell of a race if they would all run in the race. So it is really difficult to see what would win the Mares, what will run. Echoes in Rain would obviously have a reasonable chance, although I thought she didn't really see it out last year in the Mares hurdle, and I think possibly she's better over 2 miles. So she might just have her stamina exposed over 2 miles forward in the Mares. So that's my assessment of last week. I have to say that Ramillies was the horse who really, really took my eye this week. And I I wish I had got involved in him at 16-1 for the National Hunt Chase. I do believe that's where he'll go. But so many questions to answer. Energumene's defeat. What do my viewers think of Energumene's defeat? Would you back him now at 2-1? How would you feel about Edward Stone? Do you think that Lossiemouth can get beaten? Or will she get beaten in a stronger run race? Could Comfort Zone, a horse like that, beat her in a stronger run race? Would Blood Destiny create that sort of pace that he could possibly win the race and expose stamina doubts over Lossiemouth? Not for me, I don't think they could, but what do the viewers think? I said I made the charity video with understarters orders. That was completed. I don't really want to say what I backed in it because I haven't backed anything in my own videos yet, but I will say that Captain Morgs was one of my selections. I have talked about him on my videos before, and I have said that I've personally backed him. I do think he's a big price at 20-1 for the Pertemps. If he doesn't come out before Cheltenham, I really think that they'll have saved his marker 1-1. I think he's got a decent chance. Like I said, I put in Sir Gerhard, which looks a dead duck, but I can't understand what is Willie Mullins thinking about going from 2 miles to 3 miles after only one chase start with Sir Gerhard. What did you think of Sir Gerhard's jumping? I thought it was shocking myself, especially that error. You make an error like that in a big race, you're not going to win. Really, that's going to cost you 8-10 lengths against good horses. So what do you think of Sir Gerhard's opening show over fences? I wasn't really impressed, if I'm honest. Protectorate, is he a busted flush for the Gold Cup? Paisley Park, is he a busted flush for the Stairs? How do you see the Stairs now? There's so many questions to answer from this weekend, and I don't see that we got that many clues. But like I've said, Ramilli's the one to take out the week for me. I really was impressed with his jumping and his general staying power, and I really think the National Hunt Chase is absolutely made for him. So that's all from me this week. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week, and I'll be back to you next week. Bye for now. Dublin Racing Festival next week, so big week ahead. Bye for now.